from the beauty industry. And so I am going to avoid the spin and the marketing hype and talk more about the science and the technology. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, terrific. Terrific. So I'm going to start at the very beginning. I've got a lot of exciting things to share with you in terms of the story of the industry and my family's story as well. So it starts with my father, who worked at IBM, International Business Machines, was the largest computer company in the world for a number of years. He's in the suit. My brother's next to him on his right, and then the blonde kid in the middle, that's yours truly. So when I was just a few years older than this, my father took me into the office, and he said, I have something to show you. And he brought me into this room, and it looked like this. Does anybody recognize this? This is a computer, believe it or not. Raised floors, wires underneath, whirling fans to keep everything cool. And my dad says, this machine can do the work of 100 people crunching numbers. It was very exciting. So I had the privilege of watching my father's career when I was young and seeing an industry transform. And so it went from these large rooms as one computer to the 360 mainframe, to the 370 mainframe, to a more modern mainframe with remote terminals that all tied into it, to the PC in 1981. So this might be before your times, but there's the first portable computer. Can you believe it? It was called a luggable, about 50 pounds. Shortly after this, I entered college, and here I am. The dated posters, and you can see the computer right there. I was the only one in my dorm to have a computer. My dad moved with the family to Germany in the middle of my college. And in Germany, he ran a division, marketing, engineering computers, and he introduced me some new engineering folks that were developing machines like this to grow semiconductor wafers for lasers. And I thought it was very cool as an engineer in school. And after winning a business plan competition, I got the entrepreneurial bug and decided, what industry can I go into that's really going to transform the world, like my father's industry? So I went into fiber optics. And I saw this industry explode. And the cool thing about fiber optics, of course, is their capacity. But what got even cooler is you could put multiple wavelengths on a given fiber. So you can multiply the bandwidth on a given fiber and run these around the world, under the oceans, et cetera. So you have to amplify the signals. And to do that, they use lasers. So these semiconductor lasers are used. And my company wanted to get into that business. And I was an up-and-coming engineer marketing guy, and so they said, do you want to do it? So I said, absolutely. And I remembered back to the guys over in Germany that built lasers for IBM. And so I ran this marketing and business development, and we grew from just a small percentage to 50% of the semiconductor lasers to amplify internet signals around the world. Before 2003. And in 2003, after the dot-com bust, the bubble broke in 2000, 2001, the infrastructure around telecom busted. And sales were off about 80%, and there's large consolidation. So I had to decide, what do I do? Okay, so I really wanted to be part of an industry that's going to transform everyday lives. So, and I knew semiconductor lasers. So I saw that my father's company had got to these portables, which then became handhelds. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool? I looked at every place you can use semiconductor lasers, and I saw that doctors can get great results with lasers, but they were big, super expensive, very unreliable, and they were hard to use. So I thought, what if we could use some science fiction and just get a handheld unit to zap off any dermal imperfection? Wouldn't that be cool? Anybody want one of those?
Yes.
Okay. So I literally suited up, took my idea on the road, and started to try to raise money. It took actually 4 years, worked out of my living room with a desk and everything. And then I got to change my suit to make semiconductor lasers. So I launched a company called Seminex Corporation, and at Seminex, it's still an ongoing company doing very well. We actually make professional lasers much smaller, much more efficient, much more powerful. We can do wavelengths that you can't get with the crystal and gas lasers, so that dermatologists and plastic surgeons can really get exactly what they want with the tissue-light interaction. But we also sold lasers into munitions targeting, space navigation, and even driverless cars, which is an upcoming segment using laser radar. So we took these large lasers, which are very heavy and largely unreliable for their time, and transported them into laptop-sized units. But we still didn't realize the dream of a handheld portable laser that does real work, gets real results. So with that being the dream, you have to look into the biology. And I was going to all of the dermatology shows, the lasers and medicine shows. And if you look at the dermatology, this is nothing new to this crowd, but basically you want to provide a stimulation and you get some sort of benefit in the biology. So we all know nutrition, exercise, and rest is needed for the basics of biostimulation, right? It's what our mothers always told us. Eat well, exercise, go to bed on time, right? But the interesting thing is stress. We can provide stress in our bodies, and unlike other mechanical systems like our cars and our appliances, if we stress them well, they actually renew themselves. They get better, okay? They don't go through entropy and breakdown, but they go through rebuilding and renewing. So the cool thing is if you stress our bodies correctly, you can actually renew our bodies in very interesting ways. So as we all know, exercise is expending energy and using parts of our body. And then the lack of energy, or fasting, actually turns on parts of the genome that are never activated unless we're fasting. And it puts us into a regeneration mode and can have profound effects. If we look at heat, whether it's a controlled amount of excess heat or the lack of heat, we can stimulate the body to really renew and repair and revitalize itself. The same is true with oxygen. If we work out all our cells in our body in compound exercise and then rest for a few minutes, regain our oxygen, and then repeat that several times, you can transform your body in amazing ways. And then lastly, and probably most important, is with contagions, right? Whether it's bacteria, viruses. If we have a healthy person or young person and we expose them to a broad array of environments, when they're healthy, they build an immunity to these contagions, right? And then the best science ever probably is the biohack of vaccines. We can take basically a dead or similar but non-active contagion, inject it in, and then our body reacts as if it's the true contagion. So when it comes, we put up a very good defense and it doesn't impact us. And it avoids, disease and death. That's huge. Okay, but what about skincare? We're all here for skincare, right? So let's get into skincare biology or biohacking. That's what we all want, right? Make it really easy, but really good results, right? We can look at a couple technologies. We'll start with LEDs. Very common, a wide range of prices, and everyone's asking about them, right? You all get questions about LEDs, red light, white light, blue light, etc., right? So if you look at LEDs, they're easy to use, they're safe, but the question is, do they work, okay? And for people that use them and invest a lot of time, there's a confirmation bias. Just frankly, we all, if we're investing our time, we want to say, oh, I feel a glow, I feel even smooth skin, I feel some texture improvements, right? It's natural, right? You also have a placebo effect, right? So you gotta be careful of these. So I looked into the literature, and I won't say it's fully exhaustive, but I couldn't find anything with blinded reviewers before and after with anti-aging on LED. This is what I found. You got the baseline versus the after, and the blinded reviewers couldn't tell them apart, whether it's white light or red light, it was a toss-up, right? So if people are looking to invest big money into this, I think there's some reasonable caution that you need to advise. So next up, we got microcurrent. So with microcurrent, you got the sticky gel, of course, and you've got a current that's going through, and you can feel it. And unfortunately, it's a very temporary effect. So you can see with this before and after, I don't know about you, but I don't see a huge difference, and I don't see any anti-aging. There's some muscle tightening and things of that nature. But if you're going to put a significant amount of time, we're talking 10 minutes plus, in this and only get a temporary effect and spend the money, you got to question the value. So this is not a great biohack, if you ask me. Next up is microneedling. Now, microneedling does work. I think we all know this. And these show some of the more traumatic side effects with pain and erythema and even some bleeding. And not all of them are this way. But this is a risk that you have, and you got to put in the time, and there's a risk of infection. It does work to some degree. So the question is the user experience worth the trade-off of the results you might get? So again, not a great biohack, a little barbaric, if you ask me. So next up is radio frequency. So RF is interesting because it does work. It's used both in clinic and at home. You still have the sticky gel. The problem or concern I have is it's not selective. So the depth of penetration is hard to manage. And so it can go into the subcutaneous layers, into the fat layers, and it can stimulate potentially some fat loss, which in your face, clearly you do not want. You can also get into the muscle layers. And because it's not specific to the dermis, you have to spend a lot of time with RF to get enough time so you get enough energy in the dermis to show an improvement. Okay, so it's a long time and a lot of energy, and you have potentially the collateral damage. So it's good, but I think it's not as good as some other options. So what about lasers? And this gets great results, but this is what you got to do to get the great results with the laser. So this is a fully ablative erbium laser, and this is Dr. Lin in Australia doing this, and you can see he's vaporizing the epidermis, and it gets into the dermis, so there's some significant damage to the dermis as well. And they're fully sedated, so they don't feel anything, but they're out. It's a surgery, essentially, in this case. So now you would expect there's a bit of downtime here. And the downtime is severe, and it takes typically 1 to 6 months, depending on how much redness. It actually looks worse than it feels. This is a topical protectant against infection, but it's a significant investment and a lot of downtime. Now, having said that, look at these results, okay? Look at this before and after with a single treatment, okay? This is amazing. The deep set, years worth of wrinkles can be gone. And this is without any surgery, no knives, no pulling of tissue. And this is a natural look. And the reason it's natural, it's her own skin that's grown back. Here's another one. I mean, the tone, the texture, the skin is transformed. This one, the smoker's lines and the creases underneath and around the chin are really hard to address. And this addresses it beautifully. Lastly, I mean, this is just, it's like night and day. So the vision is, can you imagine if we could get these kind of results, but without the downtime, without pain or erythema? That's the holy grail, okay? That's something we should shoot for, wouldn't you agree? Okay, but it also proves that lasers can work, okay? The question is, how do we get between the decision to get laser treatment and not have a difficult procedure to get to these results? All right, so the next evolution in professional lasers was fractional. And I talked to the inventor of this. He's actually in my home state in Massachusetts, Rox Anderson, out of the Wellman Center for Photomedicine, which is connected to Harvard University. And he said, well, if we just treat a portion of the skin in these little dots, the healthy skin around it can help it heal faster, and it's not as traumatic, and we can make it non-ablative so that there's much less downtime. And it works very well, but there is some redness, and there's some pain. You saw some twitching in the previous video, so that you don't have to put people completely out. They can be awake for it, and just local, topical sedation, or topical anesthetic, I should say. And it works really well, but you need multiple sessions because you're only treating a fraction of the skin each time. So typically, it's monthly treatments for 3 to 6 months. And it takes time for both of these to renew your skin, right? Because it takes time for skin and collagen to grow. Okay, so fast forwarding to the home market, a few years ago, there were several companies that did home fractional lasers. Okay, Tria, Illuminage, Riora from Philips. Illuminage was funded by Unilever, so some big companies got involved, right? This was potentially the next big thing, right? And my company that makes chips, we were very happy because we were selling some chips into this industry. I'm like, finally, okay? We wanted this to happen, and here we go. It's happening. It was easy, it was fast, it had very good efficacy, clinically proven, a lot of money behind them. The problem was they were painful, they caused redness, and they were expensive, okay? So what we realized in the marketplace is you can't just solve the problem, especially in home beauty. You have to solve the problem with a great user experience, okay? Unfortunately, what this meant was this didn't happen. The dream was there, it was hope, but then it vanished, okay? So I had to say to myself, okay, if this is gonna happen, what do I do? And I honestly didn't want to start another company. Honest, as God is my witness, I prayed about it, and I'd said, I just felt compelled, I need to start another company to solve this. So I dug into the biology. I was already talking to all the professionals, and I dug into the skin science. And what you have here, you have normal skin temperature at 31C, and then you have heat shock protein that's generated at about 39C. And then, I do this over my shoulder, pain is about 45C. And then necrosis, or cellular damage and destruction, at the upper level of 55 to 65C. So the cool thing about this is there's a window here where we can stimulate heat shock protein, but it's below the pain threshold and well below the point where you get erythema or any cell damage, okay? So I actually created a patent around this and a way to drive a laser to get the heat shock protein maximized without any pain. And this is what it looks like on a graph. So fractional lasers are shown on the left with the white lines going up and down, okay? And the yellow line, or greenish yellow, that's the NIRA. So we drive the laser up in a controlled fashion just below the pain threshold and then hold it there to maximize your heat shock protein generation. And then the laser turns off, and because you bulk heated the tissue, it stays above that stimulation heat for actually several seconds after you've treated your face. And many people say it's like a nice warm glow after you use the NIRA. So for just a couple seconds of treatment, you actually get a couple seconds more of heat shock protein generation. And so we are now comparing the fractional lasers, whether it be home fractional or professionals, and you can look, they have 18 joules per centimeter squared of treatment for day one. You go in day one, you get that treatment throughout your face, and then you go back a month later, you repeat that, and that repeats 3 to 6 months. Separately, in NIRA, you get only about 3 joules per centimeter squared, but it's enough to drive above collagen production, which that heat shock protein stimulates, okay? And then from there, it's below the pain threshold, and if you add up all of the daily treatments in terms of power, you get 90 joules per centimeter squared, and that compares to a professional treatment of 18. So this is how we get comparable results compared to fractional lasers. especially the home lasers. We're actually equal to or better than the home lasers, and we avoid the downtime. We're getting more energy in, and we're avoiding the side effects. It's fast, easy, effective, pain-free, no redness, and inexpensive. So finally, we can get great results without the downtime. So this is NIRA before and after results. These are undoctored from our clinical study. And you can see without getting under a microscope or asking them subtle, suggestive questions, we can all see what is the before and the after. In addition, you've got tightness around the crow's feet in a significant way, as well as the neck. This was a surprise. We qualified the laser and tested it for wrinkles. And in the US, since we started selling the Pro about a year ago, they've been using it on their neck, their chest, their hands, and they've been seeing amazing results. And because it stimulates collagen production and generally skin renewing from the inside out, we're seeing a turnover of skin that's reducing age spots and other tone and texture concerns. Okay, so the vision has turned into smartphones on the top, and we started with laptop size. We moved to the home fractional lasers. Unfortunately, they didn't work out, and so now we have an option with NIRA. And so if you compare NIRA to the other modalities, you can see that NIRA kind of checks all the boxes in a real, honest way. And the other modalities, like the fractional lasers work, both the home ones and of course the professional ones work absolutely, totally, really well. And for many people, they'll want that professional treatment and the coaching and to have a professional do it. But there are many people that just don't have time or don't want the expense or don't want the professional, more aggressive treatment, and they want a treatment at home, and that's where NIRA fits in really well. And it seems to be working. Without a lot of promotion in the US, we've gotten almost every award we've applied for. These are non-paid awards, and I'm humbled to be in the audience of people like Cosmopolitan and Elle and New Beauty. They've all chosen NIRA as an up-and-coming technology. So let's take a closer look.
Get ready to transform your skincare routine with the NIRA Pro. Crafted with precision and care, the device boasts multiple capacitive safety sensors, ensuring the laser only fires when in full contact with your skin. Customized comfort with 5 laser power levels for easily setting the ideal strength for warmth and effectiveness. Powered by a CPU equipped with Bluetooth 4.2, the NIRA Pro offers high-end performance and connectivity within a solid-state design, including an internal database and USB-C for enhanced reliability and connectivity. Unleash the power of the high-capacity and efficient lithium-ion battery for up to 1 week on a single charge. The NIRA Pro features a proprietary laser engine meticulously designed for optimal function and efficiency. With a 100% glass lens with anti-reflective coating, this promotes optimal laser focus and minimal loss in optical power. The polished aluminum heatsink boasts superior heat dissipation and thermal efficiency. The pure copper laser submount includes 24-karat gold wire bonds, creating ideal current injection into the patented semiconductor laser chip. Meticulously engineered for optimal wavelength, high power output, and efficiency. The device features a quiet and compact fan, ensuring efficient cooling of both the laser and your skin, enhancing comfort throughout the treatment. Designed with the user in mind, the device is water resistant and finished with a rubber base, adding stability and reliability wherever your skincare routine takes you. Elevate your beauty routine with confidence and ease, and renew your skin with the NIRA Pro.
So we make this 100%, nearly 100% in the United States. The laser engine, the laser chip, the assembly, the testing, the validation, and we ship directly from the USA. Okay, so what's next? You want more? Here we go. So our apps are fully integrated and backwards compatible. So if you have a NIRA device, you can download from the App Store the beta version, and you can use it tonight. So where we're going is today we've got anti-aging. We've got the NIRA Precision and the NIRA Pro, and we'll keep making improvements to both devices and apps. Tomorrow, in about a year's time, I hope to be back to introduce our laser hair removal to simplify permanent hair removal for the home use with a great user experience. And then we'll move on to skin disease, starting with acne. And of course, these are all in complement to professional treatments. So I believe it's time for a makeover of the beauty industry. Welcome to NIRA. Thank you.